Hello, folks. This is MLS Matchday 7 prediction video. As of course, last week we had entertainment games, a lot of good ones, but things are getting a little faster. Let's get to these predictions. We begin tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Charlotte taking on Nashville. Charlotte coming off a tough road loss to Colorado, but they're back home for their fortress and their three-game winning streak in home. They take on Nashville, who are coming in with a little bit of disconfidence or a little confidence coming in this game. Tough loss against Cincinnati, of course, at home. This should be a very entertaining game because, again, can Nashville end their three-game winning streak at home? And this is because this is in Charlotte. Charlotte wins it 2-1. I think Charlotte can pull it off. It will be 4 home wins in a row. Real Salt Lake taking on LA Galaxy at 4:30 p.m. Eastern 4:30 p.m. Eastern game. Real Salt Lake coming off a tough loss on the road in Minnesota 2-0. Well, for the Galaxy, it's another rock bottom solid. This game is huge for both teams. I'm going to go with the Galaxy one more time, but I think it's going to be a 2-0 win against Real Salt Lake. New York Red Bulls taking on Chicago, 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Red Bulls coming off a shocking loss to New England. Meanwhile, for Chicago, they're coming back with a motivation, of course, coming off a draw to Montreal. This game is very huge for New York. They cannot afford to lose this game. With that being said, I got New York winning it 1-0. Philadelphia Union taking on Orlando at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. This is the rematch of the match day 1 match, the early kickoff from I think 4 weeks ago. But things have changed. Philly lost to Miami on the road, but they get back home and take on Orlando, who are coming off at a huge win on the road against LA Galaxy. Can Orlando keep that going, or is it going to be Philly's turn? I'm going to say it's a draw, a 1-1 draw. Columbus taking on Montreal at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Columbus coming off a win against DC United, still showing they can be contenders for the MLS Cup. They welcome Montreal, who in a new era after parting ways with their coach, and then they'll draw. Decent game draw. So that's what I'm talking about. This is going to be a fun one, but I'm going to go Columbus here 2-0. I'm sorry for Montreal, but things are not going in their direction. Austin FC taking on Portland at 7:45 p.m. Eastern game. Austin is coming off a huge win against St. Louis on the road. They take on Portland, who are also coming off a big win against Houston and their first win of the season with a 3-1 win against Houston. Two teams that have great history, of course, but I'm going to go with Austin in this one, 2-1. Also, the other 7:30 p.m. game, Atlanta versus Dallas. This should be fun. Atlanta's coming off a thriller against New York City Football Club 4-3. While for Dallas, it's been a great stretch, and now they're coming off winning ways. They come off a 2-1 win against Kansas City. Fun game, but I'm going to go with a draw. I think coming off in a big win against New York City Football Club, I think they're going to struggle defensively. Dallas draws 1-1. Houston taking on LAFC at 8:30 p.m. Eastern game. LAFC, how does it feel? How does it feel to be the other LA team to lose to San Diego? A heartbreaking loss for the LAFC club, losing to San Diego. Meanwhile, for Houston, it's not going where their direction is, but a loss to Portland, tough one. I'm going to go LAFC bounce back win 2-0. This is a huge rivalry game, and this is a must-win game for this team. Kansas City Sporting taking on St. Louis at 8:30 p.m. Eastern game. Kansas City made the biggest announcement. They have parted ways with their coach after spending about 11 years with the club, only winning one MLS Cup title. As I was saying, they welcome St. Louis, who are coming off a tough loss to Austin FC. And it's Very hard to look at this rivalry. This is, of course, a huge rivalry game between both St. Louis and Kansas City. Since St. Louis expansion, this has started a rivalry in the West. You know what? I'm going to go with Kansas City. They get their first win 2-1 against St. Louis. Vancouver taking on Colorado at 9:30 p.m. Eastern game. Vancouver coming off a draw against Toronto, while Colorado came up with a game that they needed that the most. A huge win at home against Charlotte 2-0. Fun game, but I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw. San Diego take on Seattle, 10:30 p.m. Eastern game. San Diego, I mentioned, big win at home against LAFC. Well, here we go. Now this is their biggest test yet. They take on Seattle, who are coming off a draw to San Jose. Again, another big name in the West. Can San Diego keep that going? I'm sorry. Seattle wins it 2-1. That game will be on 10:30 p.m. New York taking on Minnesota at 3 p.m. Eastern game. That game's going to be on Sunday. New York coming off a tough loss against Atlanta, while Minnesota, big win against Real Salt Lake. This is going to be in Sunday, of course. A huge game for both, but I'm going to go New York winning it 2-0. San Jose taking on DC at 5 p.m. Eastern game. This is a special game because this is the rematch of the first MLS game that took place in 1940, I don't know. I guess it's 1966. Either way, but this is the first inaugural. This was the inaugural game back in the late 1966 game between San Jose and DC. Fun game to watch. I'm gonna take this as a San Jose wins it 2-0. And finally, our Sunday soccer night presented by Apple TV. Miami taking on Toronto at 7 p.m. Eastern game. Miami coming off a huge win against Philly, and they hope Messi will be starting in this game. They take on Toronto, who are coming off a draw, and it's not a great impression what we're seeing right now. This game is huge for Toronto, but Miami, they got to keep this up. I got Miami winning it 3-0. If you have not seen my other videos, go check that out in my channel. Again, hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell for more sports news. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.